Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle. We talk about things like love, spirituality, love attraction, all of that juicy goodness. In this video, I want to talk about the ego and soul and manifestation and how do we get out of our ego mind and get into the present moment, and how do we even recognize when we're in ego. And a lot of coaches and spiritual teachers call it different things. I just call it the ego. That's how I learned it. It's how my mentor taught me. You know, I would go sit in this cute Victorian home and I would receive Reiki, and there would be a fireplace. And we had these two Queen Anne chairs on either side of the fireplace, and we would sit and talk for hours. And she was slowly making me more aware of my ego. And it was so painful. Some days I would drive home from those sessions. It was in a cute town called Vincenttown. I got Reiki there for about 3 years, and I would drive home and I would just cry because it felt like I was finally waking up to a version of me that was so icky and not good. And, you just wake up to the old way you used to do things, how you used to think. You would see your judgment more, you would see your criticism of other people, and then you would just stop doing it. And the more you become aware of that judgment, comparison, criticism, all of that is ego. Okay. So if you have not learned about the ego and the mind, and how it is not who you are, it is the program running inside of you that is always having a conversation and always critiquing everything and trying to find safety and looking for solutions. The more you meditate and the more you learn about the ego, the more you become the observer of it. So then you're in conversations with people and you're witnessing your own thoughts, and you're seeing your thought judge somebody on what they're wearing. And you're like, we don't do that anymore. We're soul. We love people. We accept people for who they are. And you slowly step back from that first initial thought and you say, okay, ego, you can quiet down now. And you just turn it off. And then you just stop thinking those thoughts. And every once in a while, they'll come back in. But how this connects with manifestation and how this connects with being in partnership with somebody, this is a huge piece of my relationship coaching that I do in my Inner Alchemy program. I coach women in all areas, whether it's manifestation, relationships, transitioning jobs, grief, loss, how to manifest money. But relationships is one of my favorites because I love helping people fall in love, and I love helping people love themselves. And if we want to be in unconditional love with somebody else, it has to start with us first. So when we can become aware of the ego that's been running us for however many years, and if you've had a really traumatic childhood, your ego is probably going to be really resistant to you, and it's going to come and you're going to have some backlash. And when I say that on my channel, I say it all the time. It means like you have like 1 or 2 days where you're not in your ego and you're like flowy and synchronicities are happening and you're not trying to control your life and you're just fully trusting. You're so present. You're noticing the trees and the sunshine and the music on. You're not looking ahead and you're not analyzing the past. That is being in soul. You are so present. You are so calm. You're just this beautiful, peaceful energy. And what's really cool about that in relationships, that's what's wanted. People want to be in peace. People want to feel calm. People want to feel heard and seen. And when you emanate that energy and you do it for yourself as a starting point, you then can offer that to everybody you meet. So the more you become aware of the judgment, the criticism, the more you step back from it, you observe it and you say, okay, I don't choose those thoughts anymore. Now I'm just going to love whatever's in front of me, even if it's chaos, even if it's somebody yelling, even if it's somebody judging somebody else, and you have a strong opinion about it. You're going to notice your mind and you're not going to listen to it. And you're going to say, okay, I don't have to think that thought. And you keep choosing that in every single moment of your life. Okay. Because the more you can be in the stillness, in the presence, in the acceptance of your life and where you are, the more your soul can lead you to where maybe you could exit that part of your life that you don't like. But the more you're in resistance to it and you're participating in the 3D reality of it, meaning you're engaging with other egos and other control tactics and manipulation and Just that forceful way of living life where you're not just allowing life to do things for you, your life is just going to be a little bit more difficult. So I wanted to make this video because it's become very clear to me that when I work with some of my clients, I can see the mind, I can see their mind not allowing them to rest, not allowing them to just appreciate a cupcake in front of them. They're so busy thinking about their next steps in life that they're not even able to appreciate the food that they're eating or their experience. And what's the point of being here if we're not appreciating where we are? And I'm going through some chaos in my life too. I'm dealing with mold in my apartment, and my apartment's just sitting there with all of my stuff in it. And I'm trying to stay out of it for at least 7 days so I can fully heal and resolve my symptoms. So I'm strong enough to go back in for like 1 or 2 days to get all my stuff, put it in storage, and then slowly clean it all. And I still have to find a new place to live. So I am going through my own upheaval, and I'm witnessing my ego every morning. I wake up and it's saying, you should be doing more. You should be packing up your apartment. It is completely trying to beat me up, and it's not allowing me to heal. The whole purpose of me resting this week is so that my body can heal and kind of calm back down. The inflammation is the biggest thing with mold. And when the body is in that fight or flight, we can't heal. It can't fight whatever's inside of me. So the purpose of me being here is to just rest, and my ego is not allowing me to do it, but I'm observing it and I'm saying, no, we're going to lay in the sunshine, we're going to go for our long walks, we're going to shower, we're going to film if we want to. If we don't want to, that's okay too. So see how I am talking slowly and gently to myself? That's soul. Soul wants to love us. Soul wants us to be calm. It wants us to know that everything is already lined up. So if I don't work on my apartment today and I don't start packing things up, I can do it next week. And if there's a time crunch and I'm only have a couple days left, guess what? I have full faith. My soul knows that people will show up and help me, or maybe I can get an extension somehow, right? There's always an answer. There's always an opportunity for something to work out for us. So when we can rest in that unknown, and the more we can see the chatter going on inside of us that is really trying to be mean and forceful, and it's just bossing us around. That's the voice. The ego is bossing us around. And I don't know if I finished my thought earlier about my mentor and how she kept bringing me out of my ego, is because she would teach me something and then I would say something and she's like, you're an ego. And I'm like, I am. And she's like, yeah. And then I would drive home and I would read, do the conversation in my head. I'm like, oh, I see it now. But it's really hard to see. So I wanted to share this video to give you examples of how your mind might not be allowing you to receive your desires, to receive the life that you already have. Your life might be really amazing. You might be getting manifestations and you're not even acknowledging it because your mind is so conditioned to go on to the next thing, or to complain about what's here, or to fear the past repeating itself. So how about we all just take a breather together? I want you all to drop your shoulders where you are, close those beautiful eyes of yours, put your hand on your heart, take a nice big deep breath in through your nose, out through the mouth, and just calm every muscle in your body. Allow your shoulders to drop a little bit more. Roll your neck around a little bit. Hopefully you're not driving. Do not do this while operating machinery. Keep those eyes closed. Another deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And feel the presence. Feel the blank space. Feel the vibration of your body. You're safe. You're loved. You're perfect as you are. You're whole. Everything is always working out for you. Miracles come when we are in this blank space. One more deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. a little tip. You guys can open your eyes. When you breathe out, you always want your exhale to be a little bit longer than the inhale. It sends a message to the body that we're safe. So when you really extend the exhale, the body is realizing, oh, we're safe. We're not quickly having to pull air back in because we're panicked or we're rushed. So it's a great way to calm the nervous system down. But in that blank space, now that you guys just felt that, and that took, I don't even know how many seconds, right? We were just in soul. You all were just in soul with me. We were not in our ego. It was quiet for a bit. At least mine was. I was just focusing on directing you guys, but I could feel the stillness when I was asking you guys to put your hand on your heart and drop your shoulders. I wasn't thinking any other thoughts. So when we're focused on actions like small movements, whether it's breathing, whether it's touching our body or massaging our body, self-massage is one of the best ways to get in soul. Grab a lovely like peppermint oil or coconut oil and do a self-massage every single night. It's called Abhyanga and it's from Ayurveda. It's a great way to reconnect with yourself and to calm the mind down. So when we were just in that blank space, right? One of the last things I said was miracles arrive when we're in the blank space. So I want to ask you right now, how often are you giving yourself that blank space, that peace, that calmness? Okay. And I know we have families, we have busy lives, but it could take 30 seconds in your car before you go into the grocery store. Or when you come out of the store, when you come out of work and you get in your car, just take 30 seconds and give yourself that blank space. And then you're kind of like resetting your energy. And then you're driving home. And guess what you're going to hear when you're driving home? You're going to hear your soul speaking to you because you've already quieted the mind. And if we can start to build that 30 seconds so that you can become a walking blank space where you're taking a walk in nature and you're quieting the ego. You're observing the thoughts that say, okay, where am I going to go next? What do I have to do? I have to call this client, or I have to do the dishes at home. I have to take my kid to this practice. You can have all those thoughts in the beginning of your walk, but once you purge and do kind of like a brain dump and get them all out, then there's the blank space. And now we say, okay, all right, soul, all right, spirit, all right, universe, all right, God, talk to me. What do I need to hear today? Or maybe I don't need to hear anything. And maybe I can just look up at the trees blowing in the wind, and the trees are blowing in the wind right now. And how can I just appreciate them? And I also want to invite you guys to, when you're done watching this video, I want you to get a piece of paper out and I want you to write down 13, and I'm picking number 13 because this is my daughter's birthday month. Micah was born on July 13th, and this year she is going to be 13 on the 13th. So we are going to celebrate her with this list because she taught me how to do this. When my daughter passed away from a muscle disorder at 6 weeks old, I started to write gratitude lists. I would do a gratitude list every morning and every evening, and I would do it at my teaching job. When the office was quiet, it was my blank space time. And I would write down things I was grateful for. It could have been a student, gifting me something, or a coworker, I don't know, saying something to me, or just any cool thing that happened in the day. I was tracking it. I was showing gratitude for it. So after this video, I want you to sit down and I want you to find 13 things that happened in the last maybe like week or 48 hours or 24 hours that you are grateful for. Think about every conversation you had, every time somebody picked something up for you or opened a door for you, or maybe you were grateful that you came across this video. Maybe you're grateful for your cell phone, that you're able to watch it on your cell phone, right? So there's these small things that we need to start identifying that's good in our life, because the ego will always continuously find the negative, and we have to decondition that. So first we start with the 30 seconds of blank space, and we build and we build. Maybe you can get to 30 minutes one day, and then you become a walking blank space where you're really practicing, observing your ego everywhere you go. You're driving down the street, you see somebody running and your ego critiques them, and maybe the old you would make fun of them in some way, or just have a judgment about what they're wearing or where they're running. Maybe they're not running on the sidewalk, they're running in the street, and your ego is like having some sort of, tantrum about them not doing what you want them to do. And you observe your ego and you say, wow, I cannot believe I just did that. Like, let them do what they want to do. If they want to run in the street, let them run in the street. I'm like, when I drive by people running, I want to high five them and say, keep going. Like my ego is not so active anymore because I had my mentor always calling me out in it. And that was 8 years ago. And it's my ego is still very, very active. It still has those thoughts, but I know to not listen to it. And then I quickly go to a replacement thought that says, you know what, I'm so proud of that person. And I'm sending them good energy. I'm sending them more energy so they can keep running. And you just start to change the way your inner dialogue sounds, the way it feels, because how you feel throughout the day is what you're attracting and what you're co-creating for yourself. And in regards to the relationship piece, when you're in partnership with somebody or you're dating or you're raising a family and your kids are in the kitchen and you guys are all having these dialogues, observe your ego, observe yourself and how you're judging your family members and how you're not really just allowing them to be who they are. If one family member, say one of your kids comes in and they're talking a million miles an hour because they just came home from basketball practice, well, your first thought should be, wow, they probably picked up a lot of energies and that's why they're all revved up and they have good energy. And then just let them talk, let them just have their little like moment. And then say, hey, bud, do you want to like sit down and I'll make you a meal? You want to just relax a little bit? And you just like, you're just always accepting people where they are instead of saying, can you be quiet? I can't focus. I'm on the phone or I'm cooking dinner and you're talking too much. That's the ego. The ego is not regulated. The ego is just like a whiny baby that is just trying to make its reality perfect for itself. It has no capacity to think about the other person and what they might be going through. So I want to finish off this video with this final thing. Finding compassion for other people is witnessing their ego. Okay. Everybody's ego just wants to be nurtured and loved. Okay. Everybody, you can even just say everybody, not even their ego, just everybody wants to be nurtured, loved, seen, and heard. So we are awake. We're the awakened ones. We're doing this work. We're becoming aware of our ego. And guess what happens? So when you go into your safe space, you're creating space within you to love more. So the more we kind of silence the ego, guess what? Now we have all this space because we're just kind of pure presence. We can handle more of those chattier conversations and the chaos and all these different things because we're calm in chaos. We're the peace that other people need. So then you get to be the person that those other people can go to. And I'm not saying that they're going to siphon your energy, but I want you to see it as a gift. When you do this inner work, and I teach this in Inner Alchemy, so if you want to join, feel free. The doors are open. The link's in the comments. I coach women for 6 weeks and for 8 weeks. And it depends on your needs and what you need right now. But we work on this. We work on you regulating yourself, seeing your ego so that you have more space in your field to be peace and presence for your family and for your friends and for yourself, most importantly. And when you become this blank space where people can come to you and you're not in judgment, you're not in comparison, you maybe offer great advice because you're grounded, you're regulated. It's so valuable. Like that's the work that God wants us to do. God wants us to be this piece that elevates the planet. And I want you to have compassion for anybody that is not awake right now, because guess what? They are living in ego. And what does the ego not have? The ego does not have space. The ego does not have time. So if you are trying to get love and attention from somebody who's always an ego, you're knocking down the wrong door. They don't have the energy, the time, or the space to give you what you need. That's why we have to give ourselves that self-love. We cannot get it from other people, especially from people who are living in the 3D. They're so focused on tomorrow, yesterday not repeating itself, all the to-do lists, all the tasks. They have no space in their brain to hold space for you. Okay, so check yourself, check your reality, say, am I asking too much of somebody who's not capable of holding space for me? Okay, so really be the observer of your reality and be that peace for yourself. Number one, give yourself that 30 seconds, build it to 30 minutes, then become a walking meditation where you're just always open, always observing, and you're just calm. and realize that that's your gift now. Your gift now is that presence, that peace, and you're gifting it to other people just by standing there and not even talking. You're just this high vibration that people will feel, and it's not them siphoning you. You're just there, and you're offering a different vibration for them to feel, to see what's possible. And you might pull them out of their ego for a little bit, and they might feel that peacefulness. And they're going, wow, I've never felt this before. They leave you, they don't see you for a couple weeks, and they're like, I want to feel that again. And then they start to inquire about it. And that's when they start to awaken. So I want to invite you all, keep awakening to your mind and your ego. Keep observing the criticism, keep observing the thoughts, the control. Anytime your ego is trying to control something, it's looking for an outcome or it's looking for a manifestation, and it's unhappy if you're not getting it. And what's the third ego belief? It's control, looking for an outcome, and thinking things should be different than they are. Okay, so when we're judging the past and thinking things should be different, that's our ego. If you can observe any of those thoughts that look like that and put them on a shelf and say, okay, that's my ego. I don't want to think that right now because I'm not in pure presence, and I'm not going to be able to co-create something beautiful because that's going to lower my vibration thinking those thoughts. So basically, those three ego beliefs just lower your vibration, which then hinders you moving forward. The more you can shrink those thoughts, the more your vibration rises. And when we were in that pure presence, that blank space earlier with our hand on our heart, our vibration was so high. So we want to be vibing high every single day, and we want to choose people to vibe high with. But we're not going to be in judgment, and we're not going to compare, and we're not going to criticize other people who are not awakened and who are not aware of this. And we're going to realize that we cannot get anything from them. Okay, so pull all your tentacles back. You cannot get anything from somebody who is not fully awakened because they don't have the capacity. They don't have the space to think of you. They're too busy in their 3D reality trying to control everything, trying to manage their lives, that it's hard for them. So don't get upset if they're not giving you what you think they should be giving you. This is where we go within and we reparent ourselves and give us what we need. So if this resonated with you, if you felt so good watching this video because you felt my presence and you felt my peace, I would love to work with you. I would love to teach you more about your ego and how it likes to trick you, how it likes to poke you. I have little secrets of how I know when my ego is really going to try and get me. And it's a really fine line, and it can kind of make or break when a manifestation is going to come in. So if you want to learn more about that, click the link in the comments. I love helping people overcome the mind, step into soul, become the observer of their life, and watch the magic unfold after that. Because when you're in the blank space, miracles drop in. So get in that blank space as often as you can. All right, lovies, thank you so much for supporting me, my daughter, and our channel. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you can get that notification when a new video is coming out, and we will see you in the next one. All right, peace out.